You open your property law summary, flip to a random page, and you see a phrase you swear you've never encountered in your entire life.
Oh, that is just the absolute worst feeling.
Right, your stomach just completely drops, your heart rate spikes, and in roughly, I don't know, 3 seconds, your brain fully convinces you that you've forgotten 6 entire months of rigorous legal study.
Yeah, that your upcoming SQE1 exams are just going to be an unmitigated disaster.
Exactly. The clock is ticking, your highlighters are running dry, and that sheer, palpable panic is really starting to take the wheel.
It is so common. It really is.
Well, we are pulling today's insights from a phenomenal resource called the Legal Debrief, specifically their breakdown on succeeding in your SQE1 exams. But let me set the agenda right out of the gate here.
Please do.
This deep dive is absolutely not about cramming more substantive law into your tired brain. If you're looking for, like, a drill on civil litigation rules, this isn't it. Our mission today is to optimize your final week strategy, master your mindset, and, perfect your exam day execution.
And if you are the person experiencing that exact stomach-dropping panic right now, we really need to pause before doing anything else.
Yeah, take a second.
Exactly. Take a breath and just recognize the sheer magnitude of what you have already pulled off. I mean, this exam is a beast.
It really is.
Whether you have been studying intensely for months or whether you're trying to balance this revision with a demanding full-time job, managing a family, or simply, wrestling this massive syllabus into your everyday life, getting to the final week is a massive achievement.
It's huge.
You have to validate that effort. The stamina required to just reach this starting line is incredible.
Okay, let's unpack this, because getting to that starting line brings a very specific, unique set of psychological hurdles. And the first one is exactly what we just talked about, this blank slate panic.
Right, the feeling of totally forgetting everything.
Yeah, it's that paralyzing illusion that you are completely unprepared just because of one momentary blank. It's like, it feels like you spent half a year meticulously building this massive, intricately detailed mosaic.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Like, you've placed thousands of tiny, perfect tiles representing all the case law and the statutes you've memorized. But then you step back. You spot one single missing tile in the bottom corner, and you completely lose your mind.
You focus entirely on the whole.
Yes. You stare at that one empty spot until you convince yourself the entire mosaic is garbage. Why does our brain do this to us? I mean, why do we default to the absolute worst-case scenario when the stakes are high?
Well, what's fascinating here is the underlying psychology of how our brains handle high-pressure environments. You have to remember that your brain is not designed to help you pass a legal exam.
Right.
It is evolutionarily designed to keep you alive. So it has a deeply ingrained negativity bias. It constantly scans for threats.
So it treats a missing tort law principle like a literal predator.
Precisely. When you open that textbook in the final week and see a concept you don't instantly recall, your brain doesn't just say, oh, a minor gap in knowledge.
Right.
It flags it as a critical threat to your survival. It floods your system with cortisol. And the dangerous side effect of that chemical response is that it creates a sort of tunnel vision.
Like you literally can't see anything else.
Exactly. It focuses so intensely on the missing tile that you literally lose the cognitive ability to see the thousands of tiles you've already perfectly placed.
So it completely blinds you to your own competence.
Yeah.
You start treating a tiny, localized gap in knowledge as a total systemic failure of your preparation.
Yes. Which is objectively false.
Oh.
I mean, you do not need absolute 100% perfection to pass the SQE.
Nobody gets 100%.
Right. You just need enough knowledge to answer the specific questions sitting right in front of you. Which brings us to the golden rule of the final week. And I honestly cannot stress this enough. The final week is strictly not for learning completely new areas of law.
Wait, really? Even if I discover a topic I completely skipped by accident? Like, what if I missed an entire chapter?
Even then, the return on investment for trying to learn a brand new, highly complex area of law from scratch 3 days before the exam is abysmal.
It's just going to freak you out.
It will only spike your panic. The final week is entirely about building confidence and strengthening your existing knowledge. You are reinforcing the foundation you've already built, reviewing your high-level summaries, and just getting incredibly comfortable with what you already know.
So if the goal is to strengthen what we already know, rather than frantically searching for what we don't, then the actual method of how we review becomes the deciding factor.
Absolutely.
It's not about the number of hours you sit at your desk. It's about the cognitive load of those hours. The source material from the Legal Debrief is incredibly clear about the danger of passive revision.
Oh, passive revision is a trap.
But I have to play devil's advocate here because I love passive revision.
We all do.
Sitting at my desk with 4 different colored highlighters,
Yeah.
perfectly color-coding a textbook, reading through my beautifully organized notes, it feels amazing. It gives me a massive dopamine hit of feeling productive. Why are we throwing the highlighters away?
Because of a deeply deceptive psychological phenomenon called the illusion of competence.
The illusion of competence. Okay, explain that.
Well, this raises an important question. When you are reading those perfectly color-coded notes, are you actually retaining the information or are you just recognizing it?
Retention versus recognition.
Exactly. Reading feels highly productive because the information is right there on the page in front of you. Your brain looks at the text and immediately says, oh yes, I know this. This is familiar.
But recognition is not recall.
No, it's not. In an exam room, you don't get the prompt of the full text. True understanding, the kind that actually survives the pressure cooker of the SQE, is only tested through active recall.
Okay, so active recall means forcing the brain to retrieve the information without a safety net. But what does that actually look like in practice? Because, frankly, it sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting, and honestly, that's how you know it's working. Real learning feels uncomfortable.
So no highlighters.
No highlighters. Practically, it means closing the book. Ask yourself a question about a specific legal mechanism, and then try to explain it out loud to an empty room as if you were teaching someone with zero legal background.
Like explaining a trust to your cat.
Yes, exactly. Or take a completely blank piece of paper and try to map out the key principles of a topic purely from memory.
And if you hit a wall and can't remember the next step, because that's the scary part.
Then you have identified a genuine gap, not an illusion. And that is incredibly valuable information. When you stumble, you check your notes, fill in that specific gap, and then you close the book and try again.
So it's an iterative process.
Exactly. If you can explain something simply in your own words without looking at the text, your brain has built the necessary neural pathways to actually retrieve it on exam day.
So what does this all mean for someone who is structuring their daily schedule right now? Let's say, I only have 3 hours to study tonight after work. How do I maximize the return on investment for my brain sweat?
You have to be ruthlessly strategic. I mean, you cannot afford to spend equal time on every topic.
Right.
You need to look at your practice materials and ask yourself some hard questions. What specific topics keep tripping you up? What areas are you hovering right on the edge of understanding where just one more focus session might finally make it click?
Targeting the weak spots.
Yes. According to the data in the source, spending just 30 minutes actively struggling through a weak topic, doing that uncomfortable blank page active recall, is vastly more valuable than spending 3 hours passively rereading a topic you already know well.
Because reviewing what you already know just gives you diminishing returns. You're sort of just stroking your own ego at that point, rather than moving the needle.
Exactly. You have to lean into the discomfort of the weak spots. 30 minutes of genuine cognitive strain is worth more than a whole weekend of comfortable highlighting.
But let's be real for a second. It is incredibly hard to maintain that level of disciplined, uncomfortable focus if you are constantly being bombarded by what everyone else claims they are doing.
Oh, the noise from other candidates.
Yeah, the exhaustion of active recall makes us vulnerable. You finish a hard 30-minute block, you feel totally drained, you pick up your phone for a quick 5-minute break, and boom, you open LinkedIn or a student forum, and you are just hit with a wave of sheer toxicity.
The trap of comparison. It is arguably the single most dangerous threat in the final phase of preparation.
It really is. You see someone posting, just finished studying for 12 hours straight, completed my 6th question bank, and on my 5th set of handwritten notes. And suddenly your 2 hours of active recall feels entirely inadequate.
And what happens biologically in that moment? Your brain dumps cortisol into your system again.
The panic hormone.
Right. And cortisol actively impairs your working memory and your ability to concentrate. So not only is the comparison useless, it's actually destroying the studying you just did.
That is wild.
You have to remember that people entirely curate what they post online. You don't know their circumstances, you don't know their retention rate, and you certainly don't know if those 12 hours were actually productive or just 12 hours of passive highlighting.
I really want to speak directly to the listener right now who is juggling this revision with a demanding full-time job. We know you are out there, and we know it is a grueling, exhausting schedule.
It's an immense burden.
Please hear this. Quality unequivocally trumps quantity. Do not compare your tightly constrained evening revision window to someone else's wide-open calendar.
Absolutely.
One highly focused, uncomfortable hour of active recall beats 4 distracted hours of staring at a page while scrolling on a phone.
Yeah.
Your time constraints might actually be your secret weapon because they force you to be ruthlessly efficient.
That's a great point. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we can see how the psychological threat of comparison inevitably leads directly into the biological threat of exhaustion.
Oh, for sure.
Because when that panic sets in, when you see that forum post and suddenly feel behind, what is the very first biological need that gets sacrificed on the altar of productivity?
Sleep. Every single time. It's the easiest thing to negotiate away. You tell yourself, I'll just stay up until 3 a.m. I can squeeze in one more mock test. I can run on coffee.
And doing so is absolute fundamental self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage.
Yes. We need to talk about the biology of learning for a second. Sleep is not a break from learning. Sleep is learning.
Wait, really?
Yes. It is the active mechanism by which your brain consolidates information. During the day, when you are studying, your brain is holding that new information in a temporary storage area, the hippocampus. It's highly volatile there.
Like RAM on a computer. It's there, but if the power goes out, it's totally gone.
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy. But when you go to sleep, specifically during slow wave and REM sleep, your brain acts like a master filing system. It literally transfers that data from the temporary hippocampus into the neocortex, weaving it into your long-term memory networks. It also does something called synaptic pruning, clearing out the useless background noise to make the important pathways stronger.
So it's organizing and saving the files.
Exactly. If you stay awake until 3 in the morning, you are actively depriving your brain of the exact biological process it requires to save the data you just spent hours uploading.
Wow. So by staying up late to study more, you are effectively deleting the studying you already did. You're hitting cancel on the save file.
You will literally remember less the next day than if you had just gone to bed at a normal hour. The goal is consistency, not exhaustion.
That is such a huge perspective shift.
And that extends to the rest of your biological maintenance, too. We aren't just talking about generic self-care here. We are talking about cognitive stamina.
Right, because taking a grueling multiple-choice exam isn't just a test of knowledge. It's a test of physical endurance. Decision fatigue is a real, measurable thing.
It is. Every decision you make, every complex question you parse burns glucose. If you are dehydrated, the actual volume of blood flow to your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for complex problem solving, literally decreases.
You're starving your brain.
Yes, so you have to eat complex carbohydrates to maintain steady glucose levels. You have to stay hydrated. You have to take a walk outside to lower that baseline cortisol. You are a biological organism trying to perform a highly complex cognitive task. If you do not maintain the machinery, it will break down during the exam.
Okay, so let's say we've secured the strategy. We are doing uncomfortable 30-minute blocks of active recall. We are ignoring the online bragging, prioritizing our sleep, and maintaining the biological machinery.
Sounds like a solid plan.
Let's fast forward. We are now in the final 48 hours. The clock is almost out.
Yeah.
How do we shift our execution strategy?
The day before the exam requires a massive shift in gears. Absolutely no heavy lifting, no full syllabus reviews.
So no panic reading the entire Trusts and Equity textbook at 6 p.m. the night before.
Absolutely not. You are only checking your highest level summaries and your memory triggers. But the real priority of the day before is logistics.
Logistics, like getting to the test center.
Yes. This goes right back to what you said about decision fatigue. You want to preserve every single ounce of cognitive energy for the actual exam questions. That means removing all friction from the morning of the test.
Smooth sailing.
Right. Map your exact route to the test center. Check the train schedules or the traffic patterns for the specific time of morning. Lay out your clothes, your approved ID, your water bottle.
Just automate the morning.
Exactly. The goal is to ensure that when you wake up on exam day, the number of choices you have to make is 0.
You want to be on total autopilot until you sit down at that desk. And then the sun comes up. It's exam day. The adrenaline is inevitably pumping. You walk into the center. What is the game plan?
First, do not rush. Leave absurdly early if you have to.
Because rushing creates panic.
Right. Rushing spikes your cortisol before you've even read a single question, and as we discussed, cortisol blocks memory retrieval.
Right.
When you are finally sitting at your desk, before you click start on that screen, take a slow, deliberate, deep breath. not just a metaphorical breath, a real physiological deep breath to lower your heart rate.
Reset the system.
And remind yourself of this fundamental truth. The SQE is designed so that nobody, literally nobody, knows every single answer.
That is so crucial to hear. I mean, it is built to push you to the very edge of your competence. Which brings us to a scenario that is guaranteed to happen, what I want to call the question 14 rule.
Okay, the question 14 rule.
Yeah, because you'll be in the exam, you'll be cruising along, feeling okay, and suddenly you hit a question, let's call it question 14, where you have absolutely no idea what the answer is. It looks like it's written in a completely foreign language.
Oh, it happens to everyone, every single candidate. When you hit that question, the strategy is simple. Make your best educated guess, flag it if the software allows you to return to it later, and immediately move on.
Just like that.
Yes, you must compartmentalize. One wildly difficult question dictates absolutely nothing about your ability to answer the very next question.
Hold on, I have to push back here a little bit.
Okay.
Because telling a type A, highly driven law student to just let it go and move on is like telling water not to be wet.
Yeah.
It was incredibly difficult to do in the moment.
It goes against their nature.
Exactly. If I flag a question and move on, my brain is leaving a background tab open. I'll be on question 15, question 16, but the back of my mind, I'm agonizing, wait, should 14 have been B? Did I miss a statutory exception?
Right.
It's like trying to drive a car down a busy highway while exclusively staring in the rearview mirror. You are guaranteed to crash into the question right in front of you. So how do you actually close that mental tab when your heart rate is under 20?
I love that rearview mirror analogy. And you're right, it is incredibly difficult. This is where you need a physical grounding technique.
Physical grounding.
Yeah. When you catch your brain lingering on question 14 while you're trying to read question 15, you have to break the physical loop. Close your eyes for 2 seconds, take your hands off the mouse, press your feet flat against the floor to give yourself tactile feedback.
Oh, to literally ground your body.
Exactly. Tell yourself actively in your mind, I cannot change question 14 right now. My only job is the sentence in front of me.
Yeah.
You have to consciously reclaim your cognitive RAM. All of your energy must be devoted to the words currently on the screen.
Break the physical loop. Feet on the floor. Reclaim the RAM. I really love that. And then eventually the clock runs out, the screen locks, the exam is over.
You did it.
You survived. You walk out of the test center into the daylight. And here is where I need to emphatically warn you about the final, most insidious trap of this entire process. Do not, under any circumstances, stand outside that test center and compare your answers with the other students.
It is the absolute quickest way to destroy your peace of mind.
It's so common, though. You walk out feeling a little battered, but generally confident. You think, hey, I might have actually nailed that.
And then you hear them talking.
Yes. You overhear two people intensely debating a question, and they both confidently state they chose C, and you know for a fact you chose A. In 3 seconds, your confidence completely evaporates.
The panic returns.
You spend the entire journey home convinced you failed. Or conversely, you leave feeling terrible, completely defeated, but when the official results come out weeks later, you find out you scored incredibly well.
The reality is that nobody standing outside that test center knows the official outcome. Everyone is running on adrenaline and exhausted memories. Comparing answers is an exercise in pure, unadulterated anxiety.
Just walk away.
You have to give yourself permission to completely switch off. Delete the mental files of the exam you just took. And this is especially critical if you have another assessment coming up in the following days. You need to protect your energy and your glucose for the next hurdle, not waste it on a post-mortem of the last one.
Switch it off.
Yeah.
Go get a massive meal. Celebrate the fact that you survived a brutal intellectual marathon.
Absolutely.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. When you step back and look at all of this together, the uncomfortable active recall, the strict sleep management, the refusal to let social media comparisons derail you, and the sheer mental discipline required to let go of question 14 and keep moving forward.
You start to see the bigger picture.
Yeah, you realize something profound about what the SQE is actually testing.
Yeah.
Yes, it is testing your memory of substantive legal rules, but beneath that surface layer, it is deeply testing your organization, your biological discipline, and your psychological perseverance under stress.
I couldn't agree more. The exam is a crucible. It is designed to test how you operate when the safety net is gone. And I want to offer a final reassurance to everyone listening to this. One difficult topic does not undo months of hard work. One weird, confusingly worded question on exam day does not mean you have failed. You have to trust the foundation you have built, take it one question at a time, keep moving forward. And whatever the outcome, you should be immensely proud of the resilience you have shown just to walk into that room.
That resilience is exactly what I want to leave you with today. A final thought for you to ponder as you close your books and finally get some well-deserved rest tonight.
Mm-hmm.
If this exam is fundamentally testing your resilience, your discipline, and your ability to compartmentalize immense stress, like having the mental fortitude to break the loop and let go of question 14, consider how mastering these specific skills right now might actually be the exact blueprint for handling high-stakes, real-world crises in your future legal career.
That is a fascinating way to look at it.
Because the law isn't just about knowing statutes. It's about making sound decisions when the pressure is immense and the answers aren't obvious. Maybe the overwhelming pressure of the SQE isn't just a frustrating obstacle standing in your way. Maybe it's the exact training ground you need to become the kind of lawyer who stays remarkably calm when everything else around them is chaotic. Remember that massive, intricate mosaic we talked about earlier? You've already placed thousands of perfect tiles. Don't let the fear of one missing piece stop you from stepping back and realizing you've built something incredibly strong.
Well said.
From both of us here, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into your final week strategy. We wish you the absolute best of luck. You've got this.